Okay, in this second video, we are going to go over how to solve the problems from the lesson practice. So starting with A up here, 2x squared minus 3 equals 29. Well, to start with, we want to get x by itself, so we're going to get rid of the minus 3. In order to cancel out minus 3, we want to add 3. And whatever we do to the left, of course, we need to do to the right in order to keep it equal. So that cancels, and we get 2x squared equals 29 plus 3. That's going to give us 32. Okay? So now we want to get rid of times 2. Anytime we have a coefficient, this number in front of a variable, really there's kind of an invisible multiplication sign in there. We're saying 2 times x squared. So to cancel out times 2, we want to do the inverse operation. We're going to divide by 2, and we want to do that on both sides. So now we have x squared equals 16. 32 divided by 2. Okay? To cancel out the squared, we want to take the square root of both sides, and we get x equals, remember, plus or minus 4, because positive 4 times positive 4 is going to give us a 16, but negative 4 times negative 4 will also give us a positive 16. So this right here is our final answer. Looking at B, once again, we want to get x by itself, so we're going to get rid of the 6 here. To cancel out a plus 6, inverse operation, we're going to subtract 6. Those cancel. We have 5x squared equals 10, 16 minus 6. Now we want to get rid of this times 5. So inverse operation is we're going to divide by 5. And we get x squared equals 2. Now to cancel out the squared, we want to take the square root of each side. Well, there is not a whole number that equals the square root of 2, so we're just going to leave this as x equals the square root of 2, and that's our final answer for this problem. Okay, take a look at C. Once again, my x is over here attached to the negative 7, so I'm going to start by getting rid of my plus 8. So I do that by taking away 8, keep it equal, do it on both sides. And I have negative 7x squared equals negative 13 minus 8. So I look at this like money. Let's say I owe you $13. I am $13 in the hole, negative. Then I borrow $8 more from you. So now I'm just digging a deeper hole of debt. I don't owe you 13 anymore. Now I owe you, that negative sign means I owe you money, $21. Okay? Now I want to cancel out my times negative 7 here, so I'm going to divide by negative 7. And what I do to the left, I also need to do to the right. Okay, so I'm left with an x squared over here, and now I have a negative divided by a negative. Those negatives cancel each other out, and I just have 21 divided by 7, which is 3. I take the square root of both sides, and I get x equals the square root of 3 as my final answer. D. So they flip-flopped it on us. They put the variable on this side, and then they also did something else tricky here. We don't only have to deal with x's. We can use any letter of the alphabet as our variable. So in this situation, they gave us a w, and they said 8 is equal to 4w squared minus 24. It's the same idea. We still want to get w by itself. So I'm going to start by getting rid of this minus 24. I'm going to add 24 to both sides. Over here it cancels out. Over here I've got 8 plus 24. That's going to give me 32 equals 4w squared. Now I want to get rid of this times 4, so I'm going to cancel that out by dividing by 4, and I need to do that on both sides. So now I have 8 equals w squared. To cancel out my squared, I need to take the square root. So I have the square root of 8 equals w, but remember this one we can break apart with our little tree diagram here. 2 times 4 gives me 8, and then 2 times 2. So these are my prime factors here, and these two I can take the square root of. So ultimately what I get here is w equals 2. I've taken care of those. And then this guy will still need to be underneath the square root because he's all by himself. He doesn't have a partner. So w equals 2 root 2. Okay, moving on down here to e. Remember, we've got a fraction equals a fraction. Let's cross multiply. So this is going to give me x squared equals 36. So we'll take the square root of both sides, and x will equal plus or minus 6. And our final problem here, again, we're going to cross multiply. So x squared equals 3 times 4, 12. So when I take the square root here, I'm going to want to factor this guy out. 12, 2 times 6, and then 6 would be another 3 times 2. So my 2's go together, and I can pull them out of the square root. So I will end up with x equals 2, and then I still have a 3 here that will need to go under the square root. So we've got x equals 2 root 3. Thank you for joining me. We will have another lesson coming up shortly. I hope you have a great afternoon, and we'll see you later.